Hello, my name's Kirk McClurkin. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Woolpert.
As a firm, how conscious was Woolpert's turn to advanced geospatial technology? That is, were opportunities identified and goals set through a deliberate planning process? Or was it more of a company-wide recognition of successful use of technology in particular projects?
It's truly a combination of both of those things. Woolpert's always had a mission to be cutting edge when it comes to technology. So, first of all, we have a long history. We're over 110 years old, been doing geospatial type work since the beginning. And we've really built a culture that flourishes on the best way to use the different technologies. We get a lot of improvements, kind of grassroots improvements from our subject matter experts as they're working on projects. And then I think secondly, we've developed a comprehensive planning process that really looks at our current technologies, new or emerging, evolving technologies, and how that works with our overall technology stack. When we're interested in something new, we have a detailed process to build a business plan around it so we can track the progress, have some milestones, and really understand the return on investment.
What year would you say this initiative began? With what particular technology investment?
I just mentioned we had a more detailed planning process. That process really changed how we go about technology investments. And probably around 2015, 2016 was when we started that. There wasn't a particular investment. We have a lot of investments every year based on our specific markets and what's happening in the technology world. So it just kicked off then.
How did Woolpert identify early tech investments? Did you acquire equipment or solutions and then go after projects where they make a difference, or was it the opposite?
At the time when we started that formal process, we really look at all of the different technology initiatives. And, you have from the grassroots side of it to what you see in the industry. And so we have our team, our subject matter experts. It could be the people leading our markets or the subject matter expertise that we have downstream. They bring all that forward and we look at it as a leadership team. And then at that time, we really look at how is it going to help our clients, our staff, our communities, and then we prioritize what's going to be best for us. And then if we prioritize it and it makes the cut for the year, we start that comprehensive planning process from an implementation standpoint.
Were there some early successes that let you know that you may be on the right track with this?
Successes come in all sizes. I think for me, we had some projects where we really infused to kind of mesh together our airborne, terrestrial, and mobile LiDAR technologies. And when we combine those data sets together, it created a variety of opportunities for solutions in the long run. Some examples, like on an airport, we created all the base data, the planimetric information. So think electronic layout plan. So very, very detailed design scale data. That allowed our architects to use that information to create new structures like hangars. It allowed our planning team to do master planning, right? So they could look at the whole thing. We could use our engineers would design and construct new or replace infrastructure. We were able to do pavement analysis that was so detailed. And then even later on, these projects last a long time, we used UAS. And so UAS used that data set and we created automated flights. So they would take off from a certain facility. They would go around the whole perimeter or most of the perimeter for the airport to make sure that they were secure. So something they needed to do in person, we could do it through the videos and they could do that. And then we even used the UAS to support construction management. So you have remote groups that are interested in how things are progressing. And they could look at that daily. They could see the videos on how the construction was progressing and make decisions. Another thing that for me was our private clientele. We really stepped up our game with the attraction of those private clients. And it just made us realize that we had some very unique capabilities in the geospatial world specific to infrastructure, and it was in high demand. So that was another success for us.
Okay, those are a lot of successes, but were there perhaps some technologies that you tried and maybe it didn't work out the way you had hoped?
Absolutely. Way more than we probably want. There has been several failures. Sometimes they're pure losses on that investment. Other times we tried to solve for one thing, didn't work, but then we realized later it solved for something else. So, it's all trial and error. We want our experts to try new things, and we really thrive on being industry leaders, and we want them to have that opportunity. So we try to provide them with the tools, the fiscal wherewithal to do it. Successes and failures, it's just all part of the fun.
Okay, so to understand a little bit more about your process, has Woolpert partnered with particular geospatial providers, such as Bentley or Leica or several others, in any particular areas? Or is it more a matter of identifying the correct solution or expertise, regardless of who the provider was?
First of all, we have a lot of great partnerships with a variety of industry leaders. We have Microsoft, ESRI, Google, Trimble, Hexagon, Leica, Bentley, Teledyne, just to name a few. We love working with them. They help us out. We get to look at technology as it's first emerging. But at the end of the day, our business is solving client problems. So it doesn't matter what technology is best. If it's going to work, that's what we want to use.
Okay, can you talk about some of the new clients or projects that came on after you had made this move toward a technology expansion?
We have a lot of different areas that we work at. I mean, one that stands out was we did a lot of the airborne LiDAR, and then we pivoted to bathymetric LiDAR. And that's really spawned global growth for us. So we have a lot of clients all over the world. On our transportation side, one example where we kind of fused everything together was I live in Denver. And so we have a corridor going up to the mountains called the I-70 Floyd Hill Interstate. We took airborne imagery, mobile mapping, drones, and we meshed all that together by also providing geodetic control to help with SU mapping, right-of-way boundaries, quality control on what they were doing. And I think the driver for our clients was we're really one of the only companies out there that can do all of these things under one roof. So it's very attractive. So we see that expansion with DOTS across the US. Asset management field, we have some really cool terrestrial scanning, some wearable technology as well. And we put all that together, and we're able to collect a lot of data and extract data in really almost any environment. Energy side, we have some really cool LiDAR capabilities that as people are mapping out power lines, we have an advantage there to provide better data, less ground control, things of that nature. We have some underground utility SU location equipment that's attracted a bunch of clients as well. So there's a plethora of different clients that have come, and it's just been great to see the growth based on these skill sets and the improvements we've made.
Okay, speaking of the growth, do you happen to have any hard numbers of the amount of number of employees that have grown since its expansion? It kind of began, offices, billings, project size, new clients, that kind of information?
I think around 2016, 2017, we probably had 800 people in 25 offices. Today, we have a little over 2,000 resources and 62 offices. Our sales this year will exceed $500 million, 300+ million in net revenue. So a tremendous amount of growth over the last 6-7 years.
So with that rapid growth, that can be a challenge for any firm. What strategies do Woolpert employ to retain their core values, keep the quality high, and instill the culture across multiple offices?
You're correct. It's a big challenge. I mean, when you have that much growth, you're trying to sustain your culture, but also embrace the culture of everybody that you're adding, and it just grows and morphs over time. I think the best thing that we have is we have a defined set of core values, and those core values are, for the most part, they're just focused on our people and our culture. And our leadership team, every month that we meet, we talk about how is our culture developing? Are we doing the right things? We have a long-term vision to be one of the world's best companies. We might not be the biggest, we might not have the most people, but we want to be one of the best. And we check in with our staff all the time to see how we're doing. It's very important for us, and it's helped a lot.
Okay, with any kind of a major investment like this, there's always some risk. How did Woolpert go about mitigating some of this risk?
I would say maybe we don't mitigate it as much as we try to manage it because there's risk in everything. We believe in our staff and what they believe will change and morph us around the technology. I think the main thing that we do is we do strong planning. I mentioned that a couple times before. We really plan out what we want to do and what those successes look like. And then we keep on it, as far as monitoring and controlling. And we know sometimes you gotta stop, it's not working. And other times, it might cost more, but we just keep going and just manage it the right way. And we limit sometimes the amount of things that we're doing. We don't want too many things to do every year. So we keep it small and focused, if that makes sense.
Are there any particular employees or departments specifically tasked with identifying and evaluating new technology investments? Is there like pilot testing of new tech? And is there a people are responsible for that kind of thing?
There are. We have a few things. I mean, first, we have our own dedicated AI and machine learning team, and they're completely focused on what they can do for around innovation. We also have we have a lot of verticals that we're focused on, and so we have groups of subject matter experts, and every year when we go through our planning process, they assess the current technologies that we have, what's working, what's not working, where we need improvements, where technology might be evolving or emerging. This can come from any product or could also come from our business partners. With that information, we really kind of start what's the impact to our next year's strategic business plan. What type of tactics do we need to do for those technology enhancements? Another thing that we do is we have an exercise at the firm where everybody evaluates innovation, and it can be any kind of innovation. It can be innovation that helps administration, sales, delivery of products, and we take that information and we review those to see what's most important. There's a ton of pilot testing on everything, and we're doing pilot testing week in and week out because we're always evolving what we're doing, our workflows. Some other things that we do is we have with our strategic business partners, they have certain technologies that come out kind of in the beta side, and we do a lot of testing on their products as well to see how it can help us the best.
So I know that you get some of your work through subcontracts. Could you discuss a little bit of how much of the percentages between the subcontracts that you're working on and how much you're the prime contractor? And just give us a little more details on that information.
The majority of the time we are prime. Some of the bigger geospatial projects, with the contract vehicles, they do run through some other agencies, which they sub a lot of that work out because they don't have the capabilities, but they're doing a different type of work for them, and it's all rolled into one. If you have a specific example, I might be able to talk to it a little bit more. If I had to throw out a number, I would say that we're probably prime 65 to 70% of the time, and sub on the others. And those numbers would fluctuate based on our different sectors. We do some work with some big companies, AECom and some others. I'd have to run the math. That's not something I think about on a regular basis.
So a lot of what I hear about, you're talking about geospatial technology. How much of that actually is the focus, and how much of it is just technology in general?
For us, the way that we define our firm is, AEG, architectural engineering and geospatial. And I guess from an outside perspective, you might think that that's three pillars, right? For us, the geospatial technology is part of pure geospatial, of course, and it's really the catalyst on our infrastructure and work. Almost everything we do from an infrastructure side has a geospatial component, and we like to lead with that. And then, I was mentioning that success earlier on, kind of infusing and meshing together all that data to be able to do architectural work, engineering work. That's really our focus. I mean, we're unique that way, where when we put data together, we put it together for everybody to use, whatever we're doing, designing, pure architectural design. It's just really part of our DNA. I mean, that's really how we started in the land management world and working for the Corps of Engineers. And we just always seem to be early adopters. I mean, in the 50s, we were flying planes doing imagery, planimetrics, and then from there, we were able to use that data for architectural design and engineering, and we've just kept it going. So I don't know if I'm doing a good job of explaining that, but it's the geospatial lead is front of mind and front of services for everything. I think the cool thing for us is we're really good at what we're doing on the geospatial side. And I mentioned earlier on one of those examples, I think it was the I-70 corridor. It's kind of a cliche, like a one-stop shop. I really don't like to use that, but we have such a variety of skills around this technology that they can come to us and we can do 10 different things rather than going to 10 different firms that are unique in that. And I think that's really helped a lot. Some of our other growth has been our acquisitive growth. We've capitalized on like companies that complement what we do, that extend us into a global footprint. And that's also allowed us to capitalize on some prime contracts, but some of those acquisitions were also, they have strategic partners that we subcontract with.